What's up, party people? This is Tarkus Jude Mossberg here from Idaho. Jude's Junk, Facebook comic book shop, YouTube channel. Profile is Tarkus Jude Mossberg. Here's my son. We're going for our daily Saturday drive. What's up, Aldrich? So, there was someone that just posted about cracking a 9.8 to get it sent in to get a signature, I assume. And his third-party presser or trying to cut it open, scratched the book, and now it's ruined and he lost $400. And I couldn't really tell if he said when I get it back I'm going to sell it, meaning it's still going to go to CBCS for signature, and he lost $400 of the book, or it was $400 including the cost of CGC and getting it signed. I think since it's a third-party presser that cut it open, scratched it, he's going to mail the book back to this owner, and then he's just going to turn around and sell it for whatever he can and then start over. So some of the comments were never crack a 9.8, and I see that a lot. Never crack a 9.8. I get it, it's risky. I get it, people don't want to take the risk, but gambling is a big part of the comic book industry. You can look at the blind bags. Every time we send something to CGC, you're gambling that it's going to come in a 9.8. You're hoping your grading skills are better than everybody else so that you can eyeball a 9.8 candidate, and you might even do a pre-screen to guarantee that it's 9.8 so you don't get a 9.6 graded back. And then some people might sell that pre-screen 9.8, they might sell it back to someone else raw saying, oh, it's got the potential to be a 9.8 when it's already been pre-screened, it's not a 9.8. So be careful of those really nice high grade raw books that someone says, oh, it's really high grade, it's very well possible it could get a 9.8. It might have came back already as a pre-screen, and now he's pawning it off to you as a potential high grade. But I debated. I started this video and then I stopped it. I didn't want to give away my secrets because the fewer people that know how to crack a 9.8 and get a signature means less competition in the signature series world. And the more signed books, typically the value starts to go down. Like Todd did that big signing, a bunch of Todd books came on the market, and a lot of the prices tanked because everyone's selling them on eBay or wherever, and doing auctions, and so there's only so many buyers sitting around willing to pay full price, and then there's those buyers that want 10% off, and then there are buyers that'll be waiting a month or two to try to get it 15-20% off. And so that's why you see the prices drop. It's flooded supply, and the demand hasn't really increased. Especially it might have decreased because the people that wanted those Todd signed books probably sent in their own raws and they got them that way. So the demand for Todd signed books went down and the supply went up, so you're seeing prices go down. So all that means is you have to sit on them. Whenever you do these big signings like Frank Miller, Todd McFarlane, Scott Campbell, maybe some others that are out there, you got to sit on them. You can't expect to sell them. No, if you do a rush and you get them back first and you're first to market, yeah, maybe you could grab those 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 buyers that are willing to pay fair market value, but typically you're stuck holding them. So giving out these secrets potentially could increase my competition, but it doesn't matter. It's still good advice. There's probably only 23 of you watching this. I only collect 9.8 books. That's just what I like. I hate when I send in a book and it comes back a 9.6, and so I said to myself, what do I got to do to guarantee the highest percentage chance that my books will be a 9.8? And that is buy 9.8s. So if it's just a blue label, I don't send in raws anymore ever. I only buy 9.8s. In many cases, it's less than case cost, and I get the book right away. It's $50 shipped, and it maybe is a minor key, or may not even be a key. It might be a cool book, and I get it in a couple weeks. Forget about 6 or 7 months. So the bigger blue labels I buy at auction. I tell you guys, I watch 30 auctions daily, and there's some screaming deals out there, and a lot of the distributors and comic book stores know this, and that's where they're shopping, and then they're turning around and selling at retail to the people. So I've figured out a way to get those discounted prices to my clients as a broker. But I digress. We're talking about how to guarantee a 9.8 if you're going to crack it. So first of all, what I used to do was wrong. First of all, what I did was I'd send in a 9.8 graded book to a third-party presser. He would crack it, press it, pack it, put the signature bag on it because I did a lot of signature series. So he charged $5 for the signature bag, charged $5 to crack it, so that was an extra $10 fee, and then you actually get the extra, $20 fee because if they're late, they got to do it overnight to CGC. So it's like an extra $25 to go that route. And there's more handling, and this is what I learned the hard way. Whether it was a mistake on his end or whether it was a mistake in the shipping route, because you got to mail them now raw. So mailing raws is more risky because you crack it and put it in a bag and then you mail it raw. And so more things can happen to it in raw. Maybe in the receiving it gets dinged or whatever. So the number of 9.8s that came back 9.8 was like 90% CGC, and the CBCS was like 80% came back 9.8s. And that was with me and him trying to pre-screen it, and I was probably taking more risks than I should have. And so I've learned not to take the little, if I see the little ding on there that looks like it's a 9.6, how I would grade a 9.6, then I don't even bother sending that in anymore. I look over the graded books pretty closely, and we decide, we meaning me, I decide what to send in for a signature series event. So I do the pre-screen. I mail the graded book straight to CGC now, and I've talked about this before. This guy that had this post, his third-party presser cracked it, and when he cracked it, he damaged the book. And he said the way it was packed in the little plastic case, he was too close to the outside plastic case. He had to use scissors, and the scissors damaged the book. Okay. So he's got a good relationship with his presser. He believes the presser, and he's just out of luck. Well, if I send that 9.8 into CGC and they damage it, cracking it, they owe the money. And that's happened before. They have taken a 9.8 book out of the case, and however there was tape on it at some point, and it ripped a whole chunk off, and I don't know if that was on my presser or if that was at CGC, but CGC ended up comping it, so I think they realized they made the mistake somewhere along the way. They still had it signed. That's the problem with sending to CGC. There is no pre-screen, and if there is a problem with the book that you forgot to notice, they don't tell you, you just get it sent back to you. So that's the downside with sending 9.8 books into CGC. The good side is they crack it. They're liable if they make it problematic. I just sent in 40 books to Todd with my new system, which has been about 2 years now, so it's not that new. 40 books. Only one lost a grade. It was a 9.8 Batman 423, so I was a little upset, but it was CBCS. So I always know CBCS. That's why they sell cheaper. They're more likely to lose the 9.8 than the CGCs. But in any case, that was the only book out of 40. So that was, what, 2%? 1 out of 40? Yeah, 2% instead of 10 that lost. It was $1,000 hit, though, because it's Batman 423. But I digress. So I send it into CGC. I do the pre-screen, the look on the outside of the book. It looks good to me. I send it in. And I send it straight there. I don't use a third-party presser. It eliminates more handling. It eliminates all the liabilities now on CGC side. If they damage a pressing, they're liable. If they and they know that they're the ones that made the mistake because it was in sealed when they got it. So unless they graded the 9.8 wrong, which I know they don't really care about that, but when you do a third-party presser and then they're shipping to him, and then a third-party presser and then shipping to CGC and then CGC, that's 4 places where it could have gotten damaged. Whereas if you just mail it to CGC in a case, there's only one place that it could have gotten damaged, and that was at CGC facility. So you're more likely to be covered in that case. And I did a whole video on how if you get back a 9.6 or a 9.2 and it was a 9.8, you can resubmit it for a regrade, and they'll do that free of charge. You just send an email in advance, get permission, and then do that. So I've done that many times where 9.8s went down to like a 9.2 or a 9.4, and I sent all 3 back because all 3 were in one order, and I sent 3 back, and 1 came back at 9.8 and 2 came back at 9.6. So 9.6 signs are way better than a 9.2 sign, at least with some of the more modern stuff from the 80s forward. So when people say don't crack a 9.8, I think that's silly. If you look at the value of a signed book, like Incredible Hulk 340, let's say it's worth $1,200. You get it signed by Todd, it's worth $2,800. Both of the ones that I've had signed sold for $2,800. So, and that was the GPA sales price before. And same thing with ASM 300s, the big bump. Batman 423 is a big bump. You're talking about $1,000 bump. So when people try to say, the value only increased by the cost of signature, they don't know what they're talking about. Cost has nothing to do with value, and you should know that. Cost has nothing to do with the value. If that's the case, if I bought a book for $100 but it was worth $500, then you're telling me it's only worth $100 because that's what I paid for it. Now, if that's your thought process, there's something missing in there. It's just like buying a used car and getting a great price, but it's way below Blue Book. It's no different. It doesn't change the value of Blue Book just because you got a great price. We are spoiled in the comic book industry because all of those sales get reported. So you think. I'm on 30 auction houses daily, and I don't watch the Goldens and the Heritages. They, one, they're too expensive, too many eyes, too much tax, and they all get reported. I only buy off the auction houses that don't get reported. Someone gets a great deal in a book, they don't want the whole world knowing it because then it just lowers the value of that book in the world's eyes. So be careful relying on price guides 100%. If you're not watching the auctions on a regular basis, you may not know what they might go for in that environment. Now, granted, auctions aren't easy. Last night I was on the computer 5 hours. I had to do a few hours of prep. I was on the computer for 3 hours of the auction. There's a way to manage your auction prices. Sure, you can do it the lazy way and just put in a high bid and walk away, and hopefully you win. There's some problems with that. But getting back to I don't have a problem cracking 9.8s. I get scared when I crack a 9.8. I just cracked some 9.8 Silver Ages to send into Roy Thomas signature, and they came back a 9.8. I've just cracked some $3,000 book, Jungle Action number 5. There's only like 8 of them in the world, 9.8s. Sent it in, came back signed by Roy Thomas. So,
one of those cords fell down or what?
I don't know. So my point is, when people say never crack a 9.8, okay, unless you want to and you want to learn how to do it in the best possible chance. I think I just spelled out. So anyways, happy hunting, guys. Take the risk. Have CGC crack that 9.8s, and if you like signature series, if you don't, then forget about it. If you're looking to add value to a book, just like pressing adds value, just like cleaning adds value, sometimes a signature will add value. There's a lot of books signed though that don't add value, and you're talking about the new artists in the last 10-15 years who are young, and there was thousands and thousands of those books printed on better papers. They're all 9.8s, and there's going to be hundreds of those signed books. And a lot of the new modern stuff signed does not move the needle in terms of value. So you need to look at GPA to see, hey, what are these selling for? And it's the bigger keys. The bigger keys signed, and there's some artists that just generate the buzz. The Stan Lee, the Todd McFarlanes, the Frank Millers. I just saw, if you stayed this long, here's a hint. Frank Miller signatures are going through the roof. Either he's sickly, not long for this world, both. But I've seen some Frank Miller signature series with Jansen really go through the roof. And the blue labels are still falling, but the signature series are going up. So may want to get some of those Frank Miller signed. Anyways, happy hunting, guys. Good luck.